Hello everybody, this is Granny. I hope that you'll all want to listen to my stories. Listen to Granny and her friends, this is called. And there'll be lots of different stories for you to listen to. If you can be on your mummy or daddy's knee, that's lovely. If you can't, then just settle yourself down, sit comfortably, and we'll begin. I hope you enjoy them. Take care, all of you, and we'll be seeing you. Lots of love.
Hello, this is a story called The Whale's Song, and the story was written by someone called Dyan Sheldon, and the beautiful illustrations were by Blythe, and it's published by Red Fox for parents and carers. So are you sitting comfortably? We'll begin. Lily's granny told her a story. Once upon a time, she said, the ocean was filled with whales. They were as big as the hills. They were as peaceful as the moon. They were the most wondrous creatures you could ever imagine. And there they are, look. And all the little fish are swimming around too. So everyone's friendly in the ocean. Lily climbed onto her granny's lap. I used to sit at the end of the jetty and listen for the whales, said Lily's granny. Sometimes I'd sit there all day and all night. Then all of a sudden I'd see them coming from miles away. They moved through the water as if they were dancing. Lily is really listening to her granny, isn't she? She's taking it all in. She knows that her granny tells wonderful stories. But how did you know they were there, Grandma? Asked Lily. How would they find you? Lily's granny smiled. Oh, you had to bring them something special, a perfect shell or a beautiful stone. And if they liked you, the whales would take your gift and give you something in return. And there's the shell, and look, there's the whales coming in to look at it. What would they give you, Granny? Asked Lily. What did you get from the whales? Lily's granny sighed. Once or twice, she whispered. Once or twice, I heard them sing. She's really whispering it to Lily, and Lily is absolutely loving the story. However, Lily's Uncle Frederick stomped into the room. You're nothing but a daft old fool, he snapped. Whales were important for their meat and for their bones and for their blubber. If you have to tell Lily something, then tell her something useful. Don't fill her head with nonsense. Singing whales, indeed. Look, she looks really shocked and upset. But I don't think Granny's going to give in to this kind of bullying from Uncle Frederick. There were whales here millions of years before there were ships or cities or even cavemen, said Lily's granny. People used to say they were magical. Huh, people used to eat them and boil them down for oil, grumbled Lily's Uncle Frederick. He turned his back and stomped out to the garden. You can just see his feet as he's going. That night, Lily dreamt about the whales. In her dreams, she saw them large as mountains and bluer than the sky. In her dreams, she heard them singing, their voices like the wind. In her dreams, they leapt from the water and called her name. And there they all are, and she's asleep. And this is inside her mind, like you have dreams inside your mind. We all have dreams inside our mind. Next morning, Lily went down to the sea. She went where no one fished or swam or sailed their boats. She walked to the end of the old jetty, and the water was empty and still. Out of her pocket, she took a yellow flower. There it is, and she dropped it in the ocean. This is for you, she called to the air. She sat at the end of the jetty and waited. She waited all morning and all afternoon, and then as dusk began to fall, Uncle Frederick came down the hill after her. "Enough of this foolishness," he said. "Come on home. I'll not have you dreaming your life away." That night, Lily woke suddenly. The room was bright with moonlight. The house was quiet. She climbed out of her bed and she went to the window. She could hear something in the distance on the far side of the hill. She raced outside and down to the shore. Her heart was pounding as she reached the sea, and there, enormous in the sea, were the whales. They leapt and jumped and spun across the moon, and their singing filled up the night. And Lily saw her yellow flower dancing in the spray. And look, there she is, looking amazed. Minutes passed, or maybe hours. Suddenly, Lily felt the breeze rustle her nightdress and the cold nip her toes. She shivered and she rubbed her eyes. Then it seemed the ocean was still again and the night black and silent. She thought she must have been dreaming. She stood up and turned for home. And then, from far away, on the breath of the wind, she heard, "Lily, Lily, Lily." The whales were calling her name. Look at her big eyes. And that's the end of that story. And I hope you liked it. We'll have another one another time.